Welcome to Wandering the Aisles. I'm Andy Farnsworth. These are happenings out in the world. I call them spontaneous conversational films. I find people, they find me. I don't know how that works, but it does. Hey, before I get going, I didn't want to be a regular podcast. I think this is more of a show, like a mini movie. But look, I have really thrown myself into this and just focusing on this for the next few months. So, hey, if it's worth something to you, patreon.com/wandering the aisles. I don't know if you know about Patreon, but it's kind of a public radio model for supporting artists. I'm going to call myself an artist. I still picture artists with a beret and a little paintbrush. I don't know if that's me, but anyway, it's super helpful if you can throw some scratch our way. Scratch? Bread? Dough? $5 a month. That totally helps, and we're super grateful. I'm sitting up straight. I don't know if you can hear it. And my voice, really working on good posture. Thoughts are a little disorganized. I just meditated. Do you meditate? Never thought it'd be something I would do. Yoga, meditation, self-help. I read so much self-help. It's kind of my fantasy. Self-help is my fantasy reading. The fantasy of being a perfect person. Maybe it's my Dune. How Al-Anon works is my Twilight. There's a lot of characters. Characters are other people I need, and I love too tightly. I guess if we're doing Twilight, I can be a bit of a vampire, or I can find them. And if we're doing Harry Potter, I don't know, I can cast some spells on the world, or try. Hey, it's got me here with you, and I'm grateful for that, so not knocking it. Old self. Old judgy self. You have that voice? Just that mean thing. Didn't even realize it's mean until you start thinking about it. If you picture another person saying that stuff to you, why didn't you get it done on time? What's wrong with you? You never get shit done on time. You've always been like this. I can't even do it. There's a negative one. I can't even perform the pain of my inner monologue properly on the first take. I can't, you know? Those kinds of thoughts. Why? Where does that come from? I guess it gets installed somehow early? I don't know. What's the part of you that it's doing that? Ego? They say it's ego, even the negative kind of thinking. I mean, I grew up with this idea that we're fundamentally broken and that we have to be redeemed from that. I don't know about that. I like to believe that we're fundamentally good, joyful, happy, compassionate. And maybe I'm reacting to a misinterpretation of something, but if I can think of my growth, my spirituality as just like peeling away the bad, peeling away the hard stuff, peeling away the ego, shame, the guilt, and just getting to that core happy thing. Do you remember that thing? Riding down the street naked on your tyke bike. I'd have my clothes off after my evening bath and I would just bolt. And I gotta say, that was absolute freedom. Pure freedom. Nakedness. Just scooting down the sidewalk on Osage Street. I like to think there was some guy looking out the window, maybe having a bad day, and then just see this naked toddler just cruising by, and you're like, hey, all right, maybe I should put some shit into perspective. That kid is living his best life right now. Very present, that kid. So my traveling companion, my fellow wanderer today is a guy named John Florence. You may recognize him if you're in Salt Lake City as the voice of A Brand New Day on KRCL. He's one of those guys, if you walk around with him and you bump into somebody, they're like, I know you. You sound really familiar, because he's been on from 6 to 10 in the morning every day on a major station here in Salt Lake. He's been super encouraging to me, and he's one of those guys, he can just talk without having to go anywhere. And I love that about John. This is my...
Foot on the brake.
Yeah, it's on it.
Huh. You got it in park, yeah.
It's in park. There we go. No? Fuck me. This is my favorite podcast, is where the sound of Andy losing his shit over the car being stuck in the ignition. Why now? This is my thought right now, John. Why now, God? It's weird. I don't always think of a real conceived higher power, a God of some sort, like a person. But when shit happens, it becomes very real. It becomes a very real, spiteful God. Like, why are you doing this?
You mean like the God of trickery?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a coyote, or, people have these.
Yeah, there are these
trickster gods.
The trickster gods. I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm just... This looks like you're giving me driving lessons in the parking lot of the Sutherlands. I'm just doing figure eights.
Well...
What? I guess I could just leave them
So driving will help the key come out?
I don't need
Let's try.
I don't need
There we go.
What?
Okay.
What'd you do?
See? I think it may have been stuck. It wasn't going fully into park.
Thank you. John saved the day. We are outside Sutherland's Lumber. This was your idea, which I'm always down with, because your eyes kind of lit up.
Yeah.
About a lumber store.
Yeah.
Which I get.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's not just like I don't know if it's like a traditionally masculine thing, but it's like if you're here, you're around all the tools that you need,
Yeah.
and then also, or may need in an apocalyptic sense. And then also, it smell like lumber stores have this smell.
Yeah.
I remember True Value Hardware in Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah, like that.
Well, they had a parrot. They had a real old parrot in a giant cage, and I know, weird thing. And it smelled like, I guess it was that like garden center part of it. It had smelled like maybe fertilizer, like a good lawn, like a garden. Like it almost had like a floral smell, and nails and wood and.
Well, they've got big saws, and they're always cutting wood, so you've always got that, fresh sawdust smell going on. So.
Yep. Well, we'll see here if the people at Sutherland somehow see me recording my podcast as some kind of infringement on their proprietary.
The thing I like about this kind of lumberyard, this is not your Lowe's, this is not your Home Depot, okay? This is, like you said, it's your neighborhood lumberyard store. So, like, real people are in here.
Yeah.
The guys that are actually, the plumbers come here, guys working construction, they're coming here. When they need tools or materials or anything, they'd much rather come to the hometown place.
Yeah.
And they actually cater quite a bit to the professional crowd. So you feel more like you're a working man. This is going to be hard for me, because I don't think I'm very funny. I can be a straight man.
One of the things I really like about you, John, is the people I kind of have friendship with over time are ones that are, you can kind of talk speculatively. Like you don't have an agenda. Like you're not trying to get, which I love, like you're not trying to get anywhere per se.
Yeah.
Like, which is kind of how this show works, is like you stumble upon wisdom. And I think you're like that.
I see.
Look at these bins of candy.
This is new. Look, there's bubble gum, taffy.
And you gotta wonder, like, see, this is the kind of thing that you're like, I'm going to go to Sutherland's because they have candy right at the front.
Well, not only that, they've got Hot Wheels. See, I never learned how to use tools. Like, my dad was never around, so I never learned that.
Yeah.
And much, much later in life, like about 10 years ago, I decided I was going to be a satellite dish installer. So I had to get the tools. And I learned how to do tools. I know how to do tools now.
I guess it is a taught thing. But you know what I think got taught with me? My dad, he showed me a lot, but I think what he really installed in me was like, don't be afraid of trying to figure it out.
Oh.
Like, not like, here's how you do exactly this or that.
Yeah.
But like, just get in there. And it's not going to be perfect and you'll figure it out. That's what I learned.
That's pretty good.
As I was editing this episode,
Now look.
I was like, wow, we really sound like a couple of men trying to be regular men, whatever that means. And I was like, huh, maybe that's one version of myself. The guy that learned how to use tools and make stuff and fix things. So it made me think about that as we're wandering around. There's fear of showing this part of myself to you. This is a pretty early, basic part of me. Maybe there's also fear of hearing me. You've heard a lot of these episodes if you're with the show, and there's an adaptive person. I kind of become someone. I wouldn't say I'm not, but, you know, different people make you tap into different parts of yourselves. And I guess John helped me just tap into the place that likes tools. Tap, that's a tool. There's a little tool called a tap. Do you know that? Tap and die. It makes threads in metal. Tool and die? I don't know. There's a tap, isn't it? See, I don't even know what it's called, but I know how to use it. Enough to figure it out.
Here, come over here. I'll show you.
I'm on board. Boots?
Look at that.
Yeah, let me smell this.
Do you know these boots are tax deductible? They are, if you're a working man, because they have steel toes. I used to go to that Smith's downtown. It used to be Fred Meyer.
Yeah, I go there.
They cut off right at my size. They cut off at like 40.
Yeah.
But you can come here, you can get your 42, you get your 44, your 46.
Yeah, they don't judge. They're like, look, we got it all.
Yeah.
The problem with me is I'm traditionally somewhat square, I think. Like long torso. So I'm like, they never have the length. So I always have to, it just occurred to me later in life that I can actually get pants tailored if they fit, like just have the length hemmed. It really would have solved a lot of heartache. I don't know about you, but I mean, I'll spin out when I try on clothes because it brings up all my body shit.
Yeah?
You know? And
Yeah,
like,
I do.
So I can't be on low blood sugar. And I really, every time I've ever started dating someone, I need to explain them, look, if we go clothes shopping, I really just need you to hold me after every pair of pants I try on. And yeah, I'm joking, but it hurts. Like I think what I remember most is like JCPenney. So my mom would have me, I'd try them on, and what she would always do is like go and shop. I'd put them on, and then I'd go out, you know, to see mom to do these fit. And she's nowhere to be found. And you're in these pants, like these corduroys that are all stiff, and your fucking fat rolls are rolling over, and you're like, where are you? And then, yeah, that's kind of there is no and then. Here I am now as a grown-up dealing with it. This is the smell. The fertilizer.
Here you go. Bug killer.
Scott's Turf Builder.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. They got killer mouse traps here.
Meaning like literally they do kill, or like these are the good ones?
Well, if I see one.
Oh my God, that is a mouse trap.
That's a rat trap.
Don't. Okay. That's a comically large one.
Well, here's an electronic one.
An electronic mouse trap? Yeah, it's like hooked up to an app, and it's like, oh, you're at work. Oh man, I got a mouse. Sorry guys, I gotta get out.
I gotta run home. I got one.
$4.99 to take a life. That seems like a value.
Have you bought anything on Amazon lately?
Of course. Well, not lately, but why?
Do you know they have same-day service?
What the hell?
Yeah, that's where I went.
The next thing they're going to be like, oh no, it's already in your apartment.
You know, we'll sell this to you, but it says here on August 3rd, you ordered one of these.
Yeah. But no, they're just like, no, we put it under your sink. We knew you were going to order it.
You know what you call this?
What?
That's a left-handed monkey wrench.
How is it left-handed?
Well, it's in my left hand.
That thing is, that's some heavy-duty shit right there.
Yeah, you're going to need that if you're under the sink.
Y'all find everything okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. What you got there?
I was just talking to my buddy John.
Oh, no.
It's a recorder
Oh, cool.
for my podcast. You probably don't get a lot of podcasts here.
Oh, is that what you're doing right now? Oh, cool.
You know John, he's a DJ at KRCL.
I think so. I've seen you quite often.
See me in here quite a bit.
That's true.
He comes here? Do you come here and wander? He comes here a lot?
Yeah, sometimes I just wander around.
Yeah. Hey, that's the best thing to do sometimes.
I know.
That's fine.
It kills time, and you're like, oh, this is what I need.
Yeah.
This is what I need to do. That's cool.
It does. I come in here and I walk around and I think. It'll come to me.
Yeah. As long as we leave you alone, right?
Well, no, you guys do great by me.
That's good. That's good.
The candy is new at the front. Is that?
So we've had candy. They've just kind of upgraded a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of old candy. I mean, stuff that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Like root beer barrels. I mean,
Yeah.
Stuff that you're not going to find.
Root beer barrels, though, man. That's
those
not.
are good. You can't.
Really?
Yeah, so good.
Ugh.
Oh, seriously? Oh, okay.
Everyone
See,
has their thing.
No, absolutely. Like licorice, I can't stand licorice.
Okay.
Black licorice or just?
No, black licorice.
Yeah.
That's
Some
disgusting.
people don't like it.
The only reason I like it is because of NyQuil. If I need to take it, I chase it down, but I try to get cherry if I can. So.
Wait, you get black licorice flavored NyQuil? Is that what you're
It has a licorice
Yeah, it
thing.
has a licorice
Whatever
taste.
that taste is.
It's kind of like Jägermeister. They have
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not judging.
So do you remember Whorehound candy?
Yeah, what a name.
That was
What
my
was
dad's favorite candy. You don't know that
No.
one?
Uh-uh.
It was a particular flavor. Actually, it was kind of like root beer. It was a little different,
Okay.
but that was the name.
I remember that, whorehound. How did that get through? Whorehound, like that, you're like a womanizer candy. Whorehound. I mean, I guess it could have had some other meaning. Whore, like whore was...
It was just the name.
Yeah, the name is the main thing that it is, though. John's looking up whorehound.
It's a flowering plant in the mint family, native to Europe.
Really?
Marubium vulgare. Whorehound.
I'm gonna do some homework on that.
Well, if we can help you, let us know.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
Thanks for
coming
talking,
in.
Paul.
Hey, we gotta go this way.
This is one thing I want to work on about myself. Is like, in that moment, I reacted a little bit harshly to root beer barrels, and that guy likes them. So why not, Andy? Why not be like, oh, it's great that you love that. It's good to love a certain, instead of being like, ugh, come on, dude.
Well, that's nurturing a lie.
See, you get me. I don't know. Just like when somebody loves something, I'm trying to work on like magnetizing it. Like not like being, I like who I am. I'm just trying to work on some shit. That's all.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe just a little pause.
Yes. A big one though. And then that's just a weird silence in conversation. They're like, why aren't you saying anything? Because I'm stuffing it down.
Because I'm trying to think of something nice to say.
But that sounds angry too. Like that sounds like you're, then they're like, what's the matter? What's your problem? What is that, a shelf pin bit?
Shelf pins. Oh, you know, those things that are really hard to do with your fingers? I have them. I have bookshelves. They use these little pins, and they're hard to. This, put it on there, and just shove it in.
That's what she said. That's the thing about hardware store. It's pretty,
Yeah, you need to work on that pause.
nobody likes a pausing comedian.
How do you know?
That's true. There's a lot of dead air in that guy's act. You're from Oklahoma. Do you think that you got a lot of this knowledge?
No, I missed all that in Oklahoma, but it was all around me. It's hard to explain because it was much later that it became important to me. I remember, when I was in high school, my dad practically built a house. He bought this house, tore everything out of it, and it was like Tim Allen or whatever. He did everything, put up new drywall. I mean, redid the whole inside of the house.
Yeah.
Knew everything, and he wanted me to help him. But he would sit down on a project and just think about it, for a long time. And my little head just wandered off somewhere else.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, I was out in the backyard playing with a stick or something.
Yeah,
So I have, maybe there's a little wound there.
that makes a lot of sense. So you're like maybe as an older guy, like reclaiming that time with your dad in a way or something.
Yeah.
Those silences, those long, uncomfortable dad stroking his chin silences where you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of moving.
Well, and
That actually kind of got me, that kind of hit me because that, doesn't it, like, this actually kind of hurts a little, not in a good way, but like, you get older and you see your parents, you see your dad as like a human, not a thing to like rebel against.
not your hero, yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
And you start to feel that, and so part of you starts to want to reconnect with that, you know. And for me, that's trying to date super introverted people because my dad was real quiet, so I'm trying to get him to talk. Would you just tell me what you're feeling? No joke. Like, I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, you're trying to draw it out of him.
Uh-huh.
My dad was he's alive, but he's a good dude, man. Engineer, pretty quiet, but he'll get going. You wouldn't know he was an introvert, I don't think, if you just met him and had a dinner with the family. Which I would love to have you meet my family. They would love you. You'd be a great dinner guest.
Well, I usually get along with the parents.
Supposedly Friedrich Nietzsche was a great dinner guest.
Oh, I bet. And look at the people he got to go to dinner with.
He was always trying to fuck Wagner's wife, I think.
He was in with Wagner. They were pals. So it was quite a little club they had going.
But yeah, I mean, did you love your dad?
Of course I love my dad. Everybody loves their dad. I worshipped my father. You know, he was a war hero, and you know, he was just a fine, upstanding member of the community. I remember when we went to Cub Scouts, he was the leader. He was the Cub Scout leader of the whole thing. Like, I remember being in a cafeteria one time, and Dad was up there in his uniform, right? His dress whites in Marine Corps, and feeling really proud that was my dad up there. Yeah. But then he wouldn't help me with the Pine Box Derby. You know what I mean?
Pinewood.
Pinewood.
Pine Box Derby is a different race. You put dead people in caskets and push them down a hill.
Isn't that what you did?
Pinewood Derby, yeah.
Oh.
Which that's where I was proud of my dad because he's an engineer and he killed it. Like, he knew all the physics of it.
He put the little lead weight under.
He just knew. Those are my happiest memories, I think, with him. Is we made models together, balsa wood airplanes. They're always mixed with some sadness, though, because then he went to work, and I went and flew the balsa wood airplane down by Oakdale Elementary School. I was supposed to wait for him to fly it, and it crashed it got caught up by a current and crashed into the wall. And
it was made of balsa, so.
Man, those were good times. And it was actually when I learned to get a kick from the airplane dope. It was not the glue, the dope that you put on the wings to harden you stretch fabric over the wings and you get lit.
Really?
With that stuff. So, feeling close to Dad and getting high, that made a nice association in my little brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
Try unraveling that one.
Well, I think we just did it.
We made
That's crucifixion wood right there. If you want to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, man. I remember more of that, a lot of that stuff about him.
Well, see, I didn't get any of that. You know, I remember going fishing by myself. I mean, I kept trying to get my dad, take me fishing, Dad. And he went, and then so I remember going off by myself, catching catfish in this lake by our house. That was fun.
Why do you think he didn't want to do that? That seems like...
I think he was really busy.
Yeah.
I think he was always working on an accelerated education program. He was always going to night school, no matter what he was doing. And I think my mom was insane. So being out of the house was good for him.
Yeah.
There you have it.
What was your dad's name?
John.
John, and you're John too.
Yep.
John the sequel. That to me seems like one of the boldest moves as a human. I'm going to name my kid me, and let's keep me going. This has actually been a huge part of my quality of my life right now. I got a new apartment and these tubs, which standing upright looks suspiciously like some kind of weird
Sarcophagus.
coffin, sarcophagus, Japanese sex robot
More
display.
Egyptian.
Yeah. Are you a shower guy or a bath guy?
Shower.
Have you ever heard of a shath? Where you sit down on the floor of the shower and it's like a bath, but you let it rain on you? I do that a lot.
Really? You
Love
don't
it.
need extra equipment?
No, you just the shower head.
You just sit on
the floor.
the
Well, I mean, it needs to
floor.
be a tub with the shower head.
Well, that's what I have.
So try it. It's really relaxing.
So I sit down.
Turn it on, sit down, and just.
Do you need anything to, like, comfort you or prop you up?
I guess if you want. I mean,
something
usually I'm in that
waterproof?
crying
Fetal position?
But not just because of sadness, just because that's my safe place. But what I was going to say was the tub, it's improved my quality of life because it's huge. And also, every night I fill it with Epsom salts.
Oh.
And I just sit there and I read.
Yeah.
I read Chogyam Trungpa and this Charlotte Joko Beck woman who writes it's a Zen book, Everyday Zen. And I read them. It's like mom and dad, Buddhist kind of thing. And I get so much joy from that. Like, I don't know what it is. I grew up Baptist. You grew up Baptist. So something about Buddhism has been really freeing for me.
Yes.
I was always taught that it was like new agey and be your own God. That's what they would always tell me, that my parents. It was their greatest fear, is that I became a new age person.
Really?
Yeah, I could get strung out on heroin, but as long as I didn't become a new ager.
So you were a Baptist?
Yeah, I mean, I accepted Jesus all the fucking time.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't get enough
Did you
of it.
get baptized?
No, I never did.
Ah.
But what I learned is that testimony thing about like how you tell your story and then you get saved.
Yeah.
What I really latched onto was those stories, those like beaten around by the world, really like driving the fun bus to hell sort of stories.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, man, I don't have that, so I can't really be saved. So I set out to do more bad stuff so I could get saved. No joke.
Well, in my church, they it seemed really important to them to put down the Catholics. I mean, it was like a big deal, They can't go to heaven because they sprinkle instead of immerse. This was a big deal.
Right.
You can't worship graven images.
No.
And the Catholics did that.
Right.
And they had a whole list of things about that, the Catholics were going to hell. And even as a small child, I couldn't understand, why all the Chinese babies didn't get to go to heaven.
Yeah.
What's with that? Well, they
know.
haven't heard the word of Jesus. How
Yeah.
can they get to heaven?
Yeah, we got that too.
Well, they're babies. They're little children.
That's no excuse, John.
God doesn't kick them out.
They're probably still thinking dirty thoughts.
It's those two things. The exclusionary clause,
Yeah.
that's number one. I can't go along with only our group gets to go.
Yeah.
The exclusionary clause. And then there's another one, but I can't remember.
Well, there's this, not to get too heady, but what I've kind of learned is like there's this assumption that you're flawed. You come out flawed, fallen,
Yes.
you're fallen nature.
Yes.
Whereas like with a lot of the Buddhist sort of things I've latched onto is you have this authentic self, which is essentially joyful and compassionate
Yes.
and kind, and you're trying to just get back to that.
Yes.
Was your dad Baptist? Your mom was? I mean, was one of them really pushing it more?
We became Baptists in about the 3rd grade after Mom got out of the hospital. And she got shock treatment, man. It was those days.
Yeah, my mom's mom too.
So she was way out on pills and, and so we went to church. And that, she didn't drink or use, so that was a good deal for me. That's what I remember. So I took to it. I loved it.
Me too. I mean, it was a spirituality, I think I try not, yeah, there was something it was legit, like, that I really connected with, for sure.
So in your church, did they do that at the end? They'd have a calling, and you'd have to come down to accept Christ.
Yep.
And then it would be like a secondary deal where they would do, if you want to rededicate your life to Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was down there every week.
Me too.
And my parents, they weren't quite sure about me.
Yeah, because you kept doing it?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, they're like, Andy, you're good. He's in there. Yeah, I do a whole bit about it, but like, I think it was a high. I got high on it. You got rewarded for it. People were like clapping. It was a performance thing.
But it was also very real. I mean, I really felt like I was getting rid of all this sin and starting over.
Yeah, you get to start over.
And I've always liked the idea of starting over. That's why it's a brand new day. Yeah. Every day you get to start over.
I always admire people who can say that and believe it. Because I say it and I'm like, yeah, but dude, it's really not that brand new. It's a used day, refurbished.
No.
It is brand new. Every moment is young thinking.
Yes.
You know, I believe that.
And there's no reason to bring yesterday or all the days before into today if you don't want to.
Do you remember when you really started to split with that?
Well, I probably smoked a joint. But see, I was out of high school. It was after I graduated high school. I had my first beer and smoked a joint. So.
What do you think was happening there? Because I think for me, when I first did, I just went straight to like acid. And
we didn't have acid yet.
It was around, I guess. I lived in a college town, so stuff was around. I just wanted to. So. I knew it wasn't the like quote right thing to do, but I wanted to just like. I felt so. While those experiences were really valid and real for me, I just felt this inauthenticity, and I wanted to like unwire myself. Like I felt like I had been not brainwashed or, I felt like my beliefs were not my own, and so I think that whole journey was trying to start over with start my brain over, because there was such this bipolar guilt. Yeah, cleanse yourself.
Because you're dirty.
You're dirty, but then get dirty, then cleanse yourself, then shame. You need to feel enough shame to get God to hear you. I don't know if you felt that, but shame is a big part of that God installed.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
Yeah. And I think probably the most destructive force in my life, shame.
It very well could be. I agree. And it still reaches up into my life today on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's funny. Every once in a while you'll run into somebody that clearly didn't get that.
Yeah.
They show no shame.
Yeah.
And they have no problem with getting up and talking in front of people. And I'm sitting there going, you really should sit down. You know, you really have nothing to say. Don't you have any shame?
Yeah, or have a little.
Yeah.
I agree. It is weird when you connect with somebody like that or know them, or that they didn't have that installed.
They didn't get it. They didn't get the shame pill.
Yeah, my girlfriend didn't have that. She wasn't raised with that, like, because I try to talk to her about it sometimes. She's like, no, I didn't have that. I'm like, didn't you have that thing where you feel joy and like there's a cap on it, like you'd only feel so much? She's like, no, that's fucking crazy. And I'm like, I can't even imagine that. Like, it makes me kind of sad to think about it. Like, here's a grabber. That's something you need. Man. See, I'm starting to get low blood sugar, and this was when impulse buys become a problem.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, let's get going.
Would
I feel good.
Whorehound help you, or a root beer barrel?
Let's look at this.
Ooh, I do love Double Bubble.
I really like Smarties. They chalk up your mouth, but they're good. What do I want? Not Jolly Ranchers, those hurt.
Yeah.
They figured that out, remember? That now they rounded them up, the square thing.
People were cutting their tongue?
Laffy Taffy. We had a Bike's candy factory in my hometown where they made Laffy Taffies and Katie Dids and stuff. But now somebody bought that, and Laffy Taffies went really downhill. They used to be square, and they used to have a joke in them. And they used to have like a waxy paper. John's getting... What are you getting?
Well, the bubble gum, that's going to remind me of being about 6.
Which that flavor lasts about 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's true.
Giant Smarties, look at that. I'm getting that.
Yes.
I'm getting this. So you're going to go home and watch Kung Fu?
Yeah. You got time? Want to see an episode?
I do, but let's do it another time.
Today's a full day for
Today's a full day.
you.
But I would
watch Kung Fu, you wouldn't need the therapy.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Give me one moment.
Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
All right.
Hello, welcome.
Man, I used to love bubble gum.
We just wandered around in the hardware store, talked about all kinds of things. It's nice. That's my favorite. Just talk about whatever with people I like. That is one of the hardest things, I think, for me to do, is to have detachment and permanence about relationships. If I feel close to someone, I have that little claw.
Yep.
You cannot, beneath that, a lot of what I do, every like conflict or even like my passion or whatever, there's just this, you cannot go away from me, please, God, like this little childish voice.
Too.
And to just think of people as like maybe moving through your life, and they may be for a time, they may be for,
I know, I do that too.
It's hard, man.
It's like I attach.
Yep.
They talk about taking prisoners, you know? It's like what I do.
Well, yeah, like people say that pessimistic thing, like my picker is broken.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's my attacher. My picker's fine. Really, I pick okay people. I just over-attach hard. And so do they. It's not like I'm the only one, but I'm really...
Well, that one thing keeps me from even attaching.
Yep, me too.
You know, and the way I've been thinking lately is like, I got so much shit, you know, nobody's gonna be better around me. You know what I mean?
I do.
I wouldn't wish me on anybody. How's that for negative thinking?
It is. I understand it, though.
Over there.
It's hard to hear someone like, hear you talk about yourself that way, but I get it. Well, man, this is fun. Say, before you take it off, maybe just like, thanks for... Say thanks.
Thanks. Thank you, Andy. This has been a lot of fun. We should get together and go through the lumberyard more often.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
John Florence, the side I get to see of him, he hosts A Brand New Day every weekday from 6 to 10 a.m. on KRCL 90.9 FM. And if you happen to end up at Sutherland's Hardware Lumberyard, I don't know. If you happen to end up at, I was going to say something clever about John wandering around, but you get it. I mean, the chances of you catching him, let's be honest, you'd have to spend a lot of time. I mean, go ahead, spend your time that way. He's worth it. I'm just saying. I thank Aaron Campbell every week for the music in this show. He's a big part of the sound of Wandering the Aisles. But, he composed the show title music, the incidental beds, and he's just provided a ridiculous amount of encouragement to me and friendship. But I was digging through all the music he's done for me over the years, and I found a bunch of stuff from when this used to be What's Your Yarn Worth with Andy Farnsworth. You remember that? It was a funny name, but I got sick of waiting for people to decide if worth repeated 2 times actually counted as rhyme, and And it was just too many words for the podcast world. But anyway, RIP, what's your yarn worth? But hello again to all the old music Aaron did. I'm going to start using that stuff again in future episodes. I don't know how I lost it. A lot of people are asking about my album that I recorded on January the 12th. I'll keep you posted, but there's good news there, and it'll be dropping, rising. The rising seems better. Dropping, I don't get it. Andy, just say the words. End of March. That's when it's coming. And it's going to be, hello, it's late. I'm recording this in my closet, and I'm trying not to wake up my neighbors. I would also remind you one more time, again, if you want to visit our show page on patreon.com/Wandering the Aisles and maybe support the program if you feel the spirit. I don't usually tell people how many hours it takes to put this thing together because I'm also a bit of a slowpoke and a perfectionist, but it's usually something around 15 to 20 hours of recording, mixing, editing, and anxiety eating and paralysis and reporting into my girl on my progress from day to day. I swear to God, if it weren't for her, I would be recording my 50th intro to the show from the bathtub still. Not just the 50th one. I'm just saying I'd be on the 50th one. Anyway, Amy, thank you. What else? iTunes, write a review. @Wandering the Aisles on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook. So just dig around. It's on there. No one goes to show pages on Facebook. It's 12:30 at night, and I'm in the closet, and the world is sleeping, and I need to get to the store for coffee and odd condiments that I don't need. That's what I end up buying this time of night. There's a hot sauce I want. That green one, if you had it, it's like the little bottle. They hide it. It's not near the Cholula. They don't hide it, but it's in another aisle. You would think all the hot sauces would be in one place. Anyway, I'm thinking about trying to catch. I don't know if I'm going to get there. See what I do for you people? Every Wednesday, that's when we're doing this. Not this week, obviously, but that's the usual day. It seems like that's the day I get the most downloads if I release it on Wednesdays. So every week, we get to keep each other company. Love you. Bye. See you soon.